Okay. Logitech. No, we don't want that. Testing. Here we go. Testing. Hello. Testing. Here we go. Hello, hello. Testing. Hello. Delay. Okay, I think they can hear us now. Got a whole 6 people watching. Still don't know what we're doing after all these years.
Hello. 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 Hello.
I think we could what if we input a display capture? Is that it? Video no, display capture. Okay. And we can. Do you want to save that? Cancel. Okay. And now I can. Testing. Okay, there we go. Testing. Okay, there we go. Testing, testing. Can you guys hear us now? There we go. Yes. Yay. Oh, that was quite a feat. Let's do that.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, yeah. So we're sharing a microphone 'cause we're cheap here. We wanted to do a chit chat on everybody just to see how everyone's doing in the markets. We're
Who's about to start working, just what's going on in the industry at the moment.
Yeah. So go ahead and text us, and we can chit chat. We want to know how you're doing. This is like John Connor in the basement. Not that I say I'm John Connor, freedom fighter here but just saying it's a way of like communicating and putting it out there for anybody that is in the industry to see how everybody's doing. We're hearing from, at least in our areas in Chicago, Frames, the Mill closed, which is a big studio in Chicago. And all the studios in Chicago, and possibly, we could be wrong about this, Frame Store in Chicago went completely remote, and they got out of the building they were at. They had a fancy schmancy building. So we're just trying to verify, how you guys are doing. Lost you on audio. Did it kick off audio again? Hold on a minute. Did it kick off audio? Oh, we're back. Hey, who was telling us they lost audio? We didn't lose audio. Can you hear us? Somebody text us, please. I'm going in and out, but you're okay now. There must be a wire problem or something. Okay, so we're here. I'm going to hold this microphone unless there's a faulty wire. So, how we doing? How's everybody doing? Are you out of work? Are you not out of work? Are you looking for work? How are your friends doing in different industries? We wanted to be able to open the chat lines here and see if we can kind of see how people are doing out there.
Who's been rehired at their place after the strike? Who's like on the streets? What studios are going under? What studios are rehiring? Just sort of generally, how is everybody after in the aftermath of the strike?
Can you guys hear us? I'm assuming we're good. Is there anybody out there? Anybody at all? So again, if you are tuning in right now, we are asking how everybody's in the industry, or if you've heard from your friends, if you've worked in the industry, how are things going as far as getting back to work after the strikes? We've heard a lot of interesting sort of chirps from people around the world that things are not back as they should be yet, but are on the way. Some are saying it's still sort of lingering. So we're just trying to put the thermometer in the water and see what's what. So if you guys can share in the comment section what's going on, we would love to hear from you. Nothing.
Maybe we got to just type if you can type the question.
Can you hear? Oh, I think things are still not back to normal for TV film, but commercial for someone still normal last year and up until now. That's interesting because we've heard commercial because of the remnants of the pandemic. Food sold itself, so food products and commercials actually kind of went whatever. I actually did a commercial recently. So yeah, it looks like commercials are good. Is TV and film going to come back in the next month, in 5 months? If you guys can kind of share your feedback. I don't know if everybody here is, looks like Shandy Tam's the only one talking right now. Again, we're just trying to get a thermometer on how everybody's doing in the industry, and we want everyone to share their thoughts. It's really not for us. It's just to see and talk to people and open up not the phone lines, but the chat lines, just to see where everybody's at right now and see what the global temperature is out there.
Yeah, sort of the state of the industry.
It's John Connor in the bunker, saying, is anybody out there? How's it going? Did you survive the aftermath? Did just survive the self-righteous actors and
The nuclear
no.
explosion of the strike.
Yeah, the nuclear explosion of the strike. And the shenanigans in Hollywood. Where do you think things are going? Let's start a discussion. We're going to put a gun to your head. Say start talking. So if you're out there, the whole 8 watching right now. It's like I wonder if people are probably like if they are tuning in, they're like fast forwarding all the rambling we did at the beginning.
Another one from Shandy.
Shandy, haha, yes, sorry, but Shandy Tarn responding. I spoke to a few producers, and they're imagining things won't start picking up late summer to fall. So there we go. Sounds about right. Now, why, Shandy, is it so late? Is it because the writers took forever to put together 8 to 12 episodes, or write a feature film, and also I wanted to ask, anybody know what's going on in regards to Marvel? Are they slowing down anytime soon for all the VFX artists? Is there a shortage of Marvel movies being made, or are they going to run out of money when they're dropping $200 million in loss every time they release a Marvel movie? Are they going to cut back on Marvel movies? Is there going to be a shortage or a shrinkage of a contraction of the industry? Do you know of anybody working in film and features? And are they out of work? Are they not out of work? We're just curious. Hi. Hello. So how we doing? How's the industry doing, folks? Has AI taken your jobs? One day I'll afford another microphone so Jack can get. Otherwise, it feels like we're just kind of broadcasting over, like speak into the mic. It's been a while. I'm sorry if I haven't produced anything lately as far as different episodes. I've been extremely busy. This is my final semester at Purdue, and it's just been quackers with the finishing up of my thesis and finishing up of classes, and it's just been crazy busy, besides also working. So my apologies for not producing any content lately. But how we doing? We got 11 watching now. It's going up. Yeah. No worries. We are always enjoying your episodes. Cool. So where is everybody from? Can you guys throw that in the thing? Are you from, I'm sure we got a worldwide audience here, especially this late at night. Nobody spends their Friday night with a bunch of VFX nerds in the U.S.
New York City.
New York City. Egypt. Cool. In Los Angeles, been doing some commercials the last 3 months. Nothing great and not a lot of outreach for schedulers. What does that mean, Jack?
They're not looking for people yet, I guess.
Okay. The company I was with was too focused on film and TV projects and are all being shuttered. My sister and I, a close friend, are costumers, and it's not looking good. My sister hasn't worked in a year. My friend is hearing that shows will start picking up in February. My sister is hearing that because the Teamsters are threatening a strike, but the studios are even slower in actually pulling the trigger on projects.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's an interesting take. I didn't expect to have that.
All we need is another strike.
I mean, is the strike sort of like it's not the cause, but the effect of bad writing and bad storytelling? I'm wondering who's to blame for all this is what I wonder. Because if somebody were faithful to the comic books, made good comic book movies, and made good movies and made good shows, would we have this problem where everyone's trying to, like every rat's trying to jump on the ship and get every dollar bill they can get? I had two people from two different studios talking about ramping for projects. Also, there was rumors there might be another strike happening this year with production crew. Oh boy. How
Yeah,
often?
but which union would the production crew be in? Is that the Teamsters?
Yeah, they're asking. Is this just? I'm assuming it's the Teamsters. They're talking. It says right there. Jaden Duffin says that. So that's interesting.
I always thought the Teamsters are the ones driving the trucks and stuff. So if you're doing production, you've got Teamsters that are moving all the equipment. So it's Egypt. But the Teamsters, I always thought the Teamsters were the ones like driving the trucks, and so if you're doing production and you need to move all the equipment from one place to another, if the Teamsters are on strike, you can't move anything, which kind of puts a brake on everything.
It says, Mestrex says the increase of the AI usage in the storytelling so that the writers need more guarantees and protection, I guess.
I thought that's what they just got with the strike that they just finished, was more AI. Thing I heard they were going to go for on the next in 3 years when the next round the contracts are up is going for like motion capture and facial capture guarantees for the actors and the motion capture artists. But I thought AI was kind of covered with this last strike. Or am I wrong?
Jaden says, IATSEA is also up for a new contract. Costumes are in that union. So with that, the Teamsters threatening, it could be bad all around.
Oh.
Oops, we didn't see that coming.
I don't know how true it is, but I heard the Marvel VFX guys, I think it was IATSE was the union they were joining. So if IATSE goes out, they may lose the VFX artists from Marvel too until the strike's taken care of. But that's just what I've read. I don't know any of that for sure. I could very well be wrong.
I didn't hear anything about this. This is news to me. It just seems like Hollywood is dying. Am I wrong? Or can't do VFX without the first shooting something. Yeah, you could say that again. So we're like on the cusp of getting things back, the gravy train running, and somebody's throwing a log on the train tracks again here because they're basically rats on a sinking ship trying to get every dollar bill they can. Is that what's going on here?
Marvel might be affected, but that's later.
I'm doing good, man. Just been busy with school, finishing it up. It's just been a blast. I've had just a great time at Purdue. It's my midlife crisis going back to college. I'm enjoying the midlife crisis. Some people have a hard time through their midlife crisis. I'm actually having a great time, so.
He hasn't bought a sports car yet, though.
No, can't afford that.
After the thesis is done.
Yeah. Again, we're here today. If you guys, I hate to sound like we're on a telethon here, like send your money. We're trying to find out how the industry is going, how other people are doing. So even if you're not in the industry, if you know friends that are in the industry, we're just trying to get sort of a international sort of like temperature gauge on how things are going. Obviously, we were in the first week of February, and productions are, it seems generally from what we're talking to other people, and again, we've got avenues of talking through people that are working on commercials, features, episodic. It just seems like what was going to be speeding up around this time, it seems like there's a little bit more delay, but it does sound like things are starting to kick up. But I'm just curious what everybody else is saying. Like we said, somebody earlier said there might be another strike with costume people. Let's see. I think the industry is in a lot of ups and downs with contracts, negotiations, and the studios can't seem to do anything, or it's just scared to start. I still see a lot of posts on LinkedIn looking for artists, but they are outside of the U.S. Shandy, where are you again? Sorry.
think he said New York.
You said New York? Okay. How's the New York market for VFX? Is the commercial still going on? And any idea when it'll be back to normal? Graduating in September and been jobless since. Well, I mean, this is one thing I always say about people, not trying to be mean, but whenever I hear students say, I can't find work, but that you're in college, so you can't work technically unless they're okay with you working around your class time, you know.
Or you quit school and go full time.
Yeah. Not trying to beat up on anybody. I'm just saying. You get a lot of students like, I can't find work, you know, and I'm like, but I'm in college taking classes. It's like, you can't really work a job while you're, you know, a full-time job, or at least, because VFX requires a lot of hours, obviously. Man, a lot of my friends, LA friends, are becoming homeless. LA markets is in a bad place for sure. Are we referring to VFX AP Mantra 12? Manti, sorry. I am done with college. Oh, okay. I heard that the production for The Mandalorian's next season is getting turned into a movie. So even shorter production schedules and less work for all the other crew members. Interesting. And again, I made a fake. I made a. Oh, never mind. It seems like. We thought commercials was going to be better with these last few weeks because of Super Bowl, but even a lot of my commercial friends said this year felt a lot slower than previous.
Of course, if you get a bump in commercials for the Super Bowl, once that's over, that may quiet down again for a while too.
Yeah. So again, there's the conundrum. I'm getting a lot of people contacting me out of blue too, friends of friends that are like, "Hey, you got any work? Work." They're kind of like just being really friendly and like, you know, "Hey, jobs," you know. So, and personally, I like helping people. I mean, who doesn't, right? Agreed, not a lot of work in commercials, but it's probably due to the fact that the market is full of out-of-work compers. What post houses was there any major layoffs lately that we have all these compers out of work?
Or is it the studios that like went under during the strike, just, you know, dumping a bunch of people on the market? Which would also kind of imply there's fewer studios too.
So we're doing something exciting tomorrow. We're going to do coffee review for local Lafayette. I've given up on VFX. We're going to start just doing reviews of coffee, pizza places, and parking in Lafayette. So, yeah, a lot of studios furloughed artists, and most of them haven't been back to work in months. Yeah, there's so many unemployed artists right now. DNEG laid off 3 weeks back. Okay. Is it do we not have that many, like, I went to upcomingvfxmovies.com. In fact, maybe we should pull that up really quick. Hold on a minute. Be very careful. This is going to pop out, Jack. Just literally put your finger there. There we go. Jack's holding the microphone from slinging back. So let me check upcomingvfxfilms.com really quick. upcomingvfxmovies.com. So if you guys go to upcomingvfxmovies.com, they have all these different shows and so forth. And from what I'm looking at here, Let's take a look here. Um, well, what's weird is Trickster showing no movies. There's no movies listed for Trickster. Maybe they just don't know what's going on at Trickster. That kind of like raised my eyebrow because usually there's a listing here for Trickster. Weta Digital has got Avatar 453. Obviously, you know, you got to be a Mr. Hotshot to go to Weta. So, Godzilla vs. Kong. Union VFX and Worldwide Effects. Is that even still around? They're empty. Rise Effects empty. Blue Bolt empty. These are all like maybe out of workplaces. Milk VFX nothing. Aluria nothing. Blue Bolt nothing. Atomic Arts nothing.
Method has nothing.
Yeah,
So
but do they even
has nothing.
exist? Yeah. Spin VFX, A Quiet Place Day 1, A Quiet Place Day 1, Blade. It seems like there's not really.
Animal Logic has one in Australia, but then I think that's the studio that got bought by Netflix.
It says,
Got bought by somebody.
Jaden says, yeah, it seems that if you were staffed somewhere doing film, TV, in places like Fuse Effects, and like those guys are sitting around, so I'm not getting the amount of calls for Newark, sorry. Yeah, Fuse has been on hiring freeze since last summer and let go most of their freelance staff, but that's most places. Okay. Is there anybody out there that knows when this is going to kick back in for sure? Can anybody time travel and tell us? you please time travel. Anybody have a DeLorean? Under the Boardwalk? That's interesting. Mickey here. Furiosa, Garfield, and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Double negative. Seems like DNEG is rocking. Obviously, they're one of the best, right? Cinecyte, Fall Guy, Deadpool 3, Bad Boys 4, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Scanline, VFX, Bad Boys 4, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Frame Store, Mickey 17, Civil War, Fall Guy, Deadpool 3, If, Furiosa, Imaginary Friends, Bad Boys 4, The Quiet Place, and Gladiator 2. ILM, Godzilla vs. Kong, The New Empire. Oh man, when are we going to get real movies? I mean, this stuff is so garbage. Godzilla and Kong, come on. Quiet Place, they're milking that cow to no end. Masters of the Universe, hey, I like to see that. Joker, not a fan. I thought Joker movie was kind of stupid, honestly. A whiny Joker. Twisters. Twisters is the sequel to Twister, but I think it's with a new young cast, apparently. That's what I...
And multiple tornadoes.
Yeah, multiple tornadoes. That I'd watch just for the nostalgia factor, I guess. I don't know. Let's see what else we got here. Bad Boys 4. Furiosa. All right. You know. Got Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Meh. Let's see.
What's he saying about DNEG?
DNEG?
Yeah, that
Sorry, we got people talking. I'm not paying attention. It says, I spoke with DNEG and read fine few days back. They are 75% sure that it'll kickstart in the spring. So when is the spring? When is that?
March, April, May.
March, April, May. Okay.
Well, that would line up with what we've heard about March. The things
things
starting to trickle in March.
Okay.
Just we keep hearing there's all this stuff out there, and when it finally hits, it's going to be a flood, but it doesn't seem to be flooding, and the dates keep getting pushed back. It's like, where's the flood?
So to blackball us even more, we're going to critique the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire trailers. Tick everybody off that works so hard on these shows. So let's have a little fun tonight. I'm not going to play the sound. We'll just play through the trailer, and I think you can How do you move through frame by frame on this thing? There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and expand out this thing.
Yeah, you're gonna have to move it
above.
so they can see it.
How do you do that? Hold on, let me see. I think I do display capture. No, that's the the microphone's in the way. Flood we wish. What does that mean? Display capture.
Flood we wish. Yeah, I was just talking about the flood that they keep saying of work that's coming.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That never, the flood just keeps getting pushed farther and farther back.
Gotcha, okay. Did I? Oh. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna extend this out. Oop.
Yeah, it will, it's Hollywood, it will get better at some point, it's just how long you wanna wait it out.
Okay, so let's go ahead and critique this trailer. How do you like our compositing balancing here? This is crap broadcast that I've never seen it before. Okay, so let me put this over here a little bit, and we're gonna go ahead and play through this trailer. This is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. We're gonna tear into the CG. Let's see if we can kind of do this here. How do we do this without? Whatever. Okay, here we go. You guys ready? Hope you can see this. Full screen your computer, because we're gonna. All right, here we go. All right, now the first thing I got to say about this. Let's go ahead and play this through. So again, they throw the nostalgia here. They got clips from the first movie. All right. I think they did a denoise on this. This looks really cleaned up. Like, it looks like they threw neat video through the blockbuster, the thing. Okay, so now this was I was super excited about this. They brought back the dude, the guy from he's from one of my favorite movies, Real Genius. This is the dude who played Walter Peck in the original. You guys remember this dude? Okay, see you, Jaden. Sorry about that. Yeah, hopefully we'll be back. But anyway, all right. So this guy kind of annoys me. I don't know what this actor's name. Oh wait, we're not getting it on. I gotta extend.
Isn't that Ant-Man?
Is that Ant-Man? Hold on a minute. There he is. There we go. Okay, I'm just cutting Jack's head off. Okay. Okay, so what we got here is the the Ghostbusters trailer here. Okay, so yeah, okay, New York, we got it. And obviously they got their little shop, right? This is kind of like in part 2. They had their spirit store, right? And this guy seems like he just, I don't know what it is about this guy, but every time I see him in movies, it's like, it feels like he's trying to find work or something. I don't know. It's just, he's like, here I am, I'm a funny guy, and he's not really funny. I don't know. See if I can get this full frame a little better. There we go. Anyway, let's see what we got here. All right, so got Dan Aykroyd. We got the guy who played Remy in Pixar's Ratatouille. Let's see what else we got here. We got a ball with some lightning. Let's go ahead and critique the lightning. It looks, once again, I think we're using that Nuke Lightning plugin. Everyone keeps using
The Tesla?
the Tesla. Is it the Nuke Lightning plugin? I don't know. We'll find out. All right, what else we got here? More good stuff here. Got your multicultural cast, as usual. You got some kid, apparently. Let's see what else we got here. This spring. Okay, so Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd is, you never get tired of Dan Aykroyd, actually. The other guys, maybe, I don't know. Now let's take a look at this CG. Not too bad. Not too shabby, as if I could do better. Let's see. This looks a little painting-esque. There's Tesla again, or X. What's it called? X Tesla.
X Tesla.
Yeah, but like, that ain't Tesla. We actually use the lightning bolt. So that's. What do you think, Jack? What's your opinion?
Looks like Houdini
I think it's Houdini. That
for the glass. You know, the
Steven
ice breaking.
Steven nipping tutorial here. Steven nipping tutorial. No, I'm just joking around. Okay, what the heck? Okay, so we got some Houdini, wispy, ghostly smoke again. Can never get enough of that. Let's see. What else?
Yeah, that is Ant-Man.
Now there's this skinny guy. He's not very threatening, actually. Kind of looks too skinny to be scary. It's kind of like you could beat him up. You know. And
That guy kind of looks like the stereotype alien with a pair of antlers put on his head.
Now, to me, the animation of this car seems strange. Like, wouldn't an ice thing be so friggin' weak it would not lift a car? It would literally break in half, or with the weight. I didn't buy that. It's kind of. I never dug this. I mean, it's cool when they come out of the ground. I kind of dig that. You know, it's kind
I
of
would
cool.
tend to think narrow spikes of ice like that would, if anything, go through the car, not lift it up off the ground.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's got to be sharp as a knife.
Yeah, it would just like punch through it.
This feels a little hokey. I don't know. It seems a little like the scale seems off. It's too blurry or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. Okay, we got people running, and these spikes are too. They're too bright or something. I don't know. It seems like they would be darker, but it's almost like the decision in the compositing end was they need to at least see that it's these ice things, right? Versus if you put more smoke in front of them, which almost seems like it would be, right? You would. Oh, we got some refraction.
Yeah.
Look at that. Ooh, fancy. Very nice. So that might have been something rendered inside a Houdini with the back plate there in the actual Houdini scene, allowing for the refraction of the plate in the shot. Maybe, I don't know. This is just so weird. I mean, this is what I call the modern day mishmash fanboy. It's almost like instead of you're seeing a movie about Ghostbusters, you're seeing a movie with a bunch of fanboys dressed up as Ghostbusters. And this is what Ghostbusters has become, this sort of like weird movie with all these hyper real actors. Like they're all acting super hyper humorous, you know, and you don't buy it, you know. I don't know. Ernie Hudson, a friend of mine, this shout out to my friend Armand. He went to one of those Comic-Con things, and Ernie Hudson was there, and he just wanted to say hi. So he went up to the booth, and he was like, "Hi, how are you?" Ernie Hudson looked at him like with such an evil look, and was like, "Buy something now." You know, it was like, well, then I can talk to you. So I just thought I'd share that. And he felt like okay, I guess he's like, and my friend was broke, so he didn't buy anything. Again, shout out to Armand on that one. And then you have this guy who is way too old. He's got some dumb line in here. It's so dumb. Now, what's crazy seeing Janine, she almost looks like, I don't know. It's like she looks like a. What do you think, Jack?
I don't know what you're trying to say. Yeah.
I think
she's back again for another episode.
She's back. She looks really well taken care of on the skin, but I hate this. This is not trying to be negative. She looks like a boy in the shot, doesn't she? Am I nuts? Like at first I thought it was like a boy. I'm like, is that a boy? You know, and it's like, oh, it's Janine. And then of course you get Bill Murray saying, take a look. You know, you know. I can't believe that's her. She's looking pretty good, unless they fixed her, you know, fixed all of her wrinkles or something. I'm assuming that's probably what they did. She looks pretty good. Like her skin is looking pretty good there, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got the now this okay, before everybody tears me apart for like, you know, you a jerk, what do you know? This I got kind of excited about because this at least feels like a practical effect. Is it me? This looks like a real practical effect with like the limitations of practical setup.
It's almost a variation on the Angels of Death from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
You know, it's got the same kind of look to it, minus the long flowing hair.
It almost like it's got like marionette puppeted hands.
Yeah.
And I dig that because if you go back to Ghostbusters, man, Slimer never looked more real than the first Ghostbusters because that was a real practical thing, and that thing looked organic, real. It looked tangibly like it was there. These latest like scenes with quote unquote Slimer always look like a character from the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like a lot of these characters are super saturated. They have this Who Framed Roger Rabbit cartoon look. I can't believe they're bringing back this stupid. This was the dumbest thing ever in the world. I don't know. I guess the kids.
Stay Puft
the Stay
Marshmallow
Puft.
guy.
Yeah, like some children were like, I want more of that. You know.
Oh, the little
Ernie Hudson's got work.
baby Stay Puff.
Of course, the great line. This will get you back in theaters, right? Ghostbusters. What do you want? Yep. And then this guy. Ugh, I think he just should have stayed with Stranger Things. This just looks so stupid. I don't know. It's like, I'm just gonna shoot a laser. I can't point it, you know. And then this guy. I'm sorry. I just can't stand this guy. I don't know why. He's just so annoying. He's like, oh, I'm a hyper little child, you know. I'm very childish, you know. It's just his character in this series is just so stupid, and the lines aren't funny. I was telling Jack, like, this one thing that we were mentioning, like, we don't have highly energetic, optimistic films with levity and laugh out loud humor. We see a lot of movies that have desperately trying to do humor and they never really make it. So this thing looks good as long as they don't put this dumb blue saturation in the eyes. I really don't like this stupid lens flare thing. It looks like an anamorphic lens flare in the eyes and super saturated blue in the eyes. Like if they would just get rid of that, it wouldn't be as bad actually. It looks really cool. But the fact that they, you know, this drives me nuts. Like just take those eyes, you know, and desaturate them or something and break up that glow. Like I'm okay with this. But the blue, the super saturated blue, just like, it just looks too cartoony. And even some of the silhouette of this doesn't look real. It feels like almost like soft and gentle, and it just feels, I don't know. And then he has this absolutely stupid line, like, coming in horny or something. It's like, it's so dumb. I'm like, what kind of line is that? I don't know. So there's our monster. I think it's kind of cool that you can't see his face. I think that's kind of nice. That's kind of like reminiscent of Aliens, because you would never really see their face. I think that's kind of cool how you don't really get a character. You don't really see the emotion. You just see everything behind this blasting blue eyes, you know? I think that's kind of cool. This thing, I'm sorry, gang. This thing looks like something from Tron. I don't know. I'm like, come on. I mean, that's like Tron, you know. It's like it's like a light cycle piranha or something. I don't know. It's like, and then this is so goofy too. This like little Ghostbuster trap / drone. But yeah, this feels like Who Framed Roger Rabbit meets, I don't know. Jack, any comments as I
Not really.
blackball myself?
Not really. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, your work is crap. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, folks, so that's Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Now we're going to jump over to... we're going to jump over to something else. We were going to jump over to... What was that trailer we were watching today? Airbender. Last Airbender. Where's that goofy trailer? Okay, so we got some Netflix fun, right? Alright, now we're going to tear this apart. Okay, so... Here we go. Now, Jack, what do you think of this shot?
It looks like a CG shot. I mean, it's nicely done, other than it's just too soft. Yeah, it looks like they got a blur filter over everything
Yeah.
of some sort.
We were saying that the...
There's also sort of that dark. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be part of the smoke, but you got the smoke coming up out of the center, but then you got that big dark area to the screen left of the smoke, and it's kind of like...
This is a common thing with specularity. I think ILM kind of captured it really well with the Transformers movies. But any sort of like reflection of like metal or whatever, there's no change in the light reflecting off of this as this approaches the camera. It's like a painting-esque frozen frame of reflection. As you know, as something comes towards you, you'll see little highlight kicks and so forth. And there's nothing there, which is kind of weird.
It's almost like an old style Garroud shading. You know,
Yeah.
just sort of a smooth highlight without any kind of like specularity to it.
This here, we were saying that the blacks didn't match. You can't really tell in this because we don't have it full screen. But the blacks on this little flying dog were not, they didn't look correct.
It also doesn't seem to move matched with the speed of, you know, the perspective between the flying character and the background. The speeds don't match. It's off a little bit.
Now,
Seemingly.
This always, okay, again, it's almost like back to what we saw in Ghostbusters. These back silhouetted, ghostly, smoky things always look almost like too perfect. You know, they seem like perfect and smooth and soft and nice and pleasant. There's no roughness to it. I don't know why. This actually looks good. You know, there's some amazing stuff in here. Oh, there's the reaction. We were talking about this shot that it obviously looks like a green screen because they react before. And then there's the shaky cam nuke tool there. I think this is pretty cool. You got some nice flaring of the fires, right? But it's still, even this shot right here feels slightly composited because you don't see any fire bouncing off of anything near it. You know, almost feels like a foreground element thrown in. I don't know how cheap the production costs of the VFX for this. Again, you have that same thing again I was talking about here, where the reflections, the specularity reflections here feel painting-esque, you know. I'd be curious if we have a discussion about that, because this shot right here, I was saying, Jack disagrees with me, but this shot I was saying, like, as you move over the crowd, it doesn't seem like the focus here and here is any different. It's like a universal defocus on the foreground element. Like, there's no fall off of focus.
Depth of field.
Yeah, depth of field. It just seems like somebody just threw a defocus node on this entire CG element, including these people, as opposed to some sort of maybe Z depth rack focus as it kind of goes over it or something. Anyway, again, this softy soft stuff. Every time I see this stuff, it doesn't feel real. It's sort of soft.
Yeah, on that previous shot also, it seems like if we're focused on the faraway island, if you back it up a little. If you were focused
Manstrek
on
says maybe the motion blur.
Go back to the...
You're
shot
saying maybe it's
before.
motion blur. Yeah, it could be motion blur. That's true.
But like if you're focused on the faraway island where the mountains are and stuff, that little island in the under the characters almost looks like it's too sharp, like that would have been a little bit softer too if you were focused on the far island, just up the field.
And then something would tell me like this is an f-stop like 22 or something, where
Yeah.
it's like back here in focus, this in focus, this in focus, and this foreground element. It just seems like there would be more depth
Deep-
of field.
Yeah, more things
deeper depth of field. Yeah.
defocused.
This again just feels softy, like almost pristine. The pristine CG, pristine, soft and luscious feel it doesn't feel right. I don't know why. I think maybe it's the saturation too, but I could be wrong. Okay, so we got some Houdini smoke. I'm surprised. This guy actually looks like the anime. Whatever it is, this actually looks like the anime dude. I think they did a pretty good job of hiring better than M. Night Shyamalan. And then you got this guy who's always angry at everything. I think he looks very much like the cartoon. Well, not cartoon. Sorry if I offended everybody.
The anime.
That cartoon got some flaring.
I'll say the wide shots with the ships and the smoke and the ice and all of that are very reminiscent of the same environment in the Golden Compass. You saw
This
that?
looks fake. This feels like this is like a model back here. I think it's because this back mountain is the same focus as this foreground mountain, is the same focus as this foreground area here, and then everything's in focus here. The fall off of these focuses are weird as composite. Obviously, the guy is in front of a green screen, right? And whatever's in front of him is green screen, but you can kind of tell this is a layering of a series of objects that don't make sense because of the fall off of the depth of field. Or am I wrong, Jack? Or
No,
it feels
is-
stacked. It doesn't feel like it's one cohesive scene. Whether the millimeter lenses aren't matching, whether this foreground element is flatter than the background object, which is wider, maybe. I don't think so. It's something I can't really put my finger on, so I apologize to those that worked on this. But there's something about it that feels stacked. It feels stacked, and the background feels like some sort of like small miniaturized model or something. Because of the way the depth of field is back there, it feels strange. Maybe Jack, can you maybe fill in?
no, I think it's really depth of field. Like the roof of the building should be a little bit not as soft as the background should be softer, and then that roof of the building should have some blurriness to it. If you're focused on the guy, and they're all it just doesn't feel accurate to what a camera would do if you were shooting a real shot like that.
Yeah. This is cool. Okay, we got a little bit of a bokeh ball. Right there, a little flare, a little dirt on the lens, a little muck, a little gunk on the bottom left. This guy with the arrow on his head. The interactions of this creature are pretty good. I have to say, it's pretty impressive. I'm telling you, they really, not too bad. This guy, they really hired the right dude to match the cartoon. Hey, it's a fun movie for kids. Let the kiddies enjoy. CG that looked kind of weird. What was that all about? Let's see. Is it me or? Yeah, like the distortion on his head's too much. See that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a bit like his head would be burned off. I don't know. It's something about that, like lens flares by optical flare. It's probably not an optical
he
flare.
might be immune to the fire since that's the guys that control the fire element.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder on set if they had obviously it looks like they did. They might have been shining lights on the actors, for the practical of the lights of the fire. It always seems CG tries to hide the lack of interactive lighting with huge flares. Just put a flare and blind the audience. They'll not see that there's no interactive lighting going on. That's just me. So here we've got Minas Tirith from Lord of the Rings. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, we got the kid with the arrow on the head. I just don't think this translates well. over from a. It's never meant to be a live action movie. It never was. I mean, M Night Shyamalan couldn't do it. How can this guy think he's going to do it? Maybe he can. I don't know.
We'll have to see what the movie looks like.
I mean, I don't know if they're just running off of, demographically or marketing like some of the, what kind of kids, what do you want to see? And what you'll see, sure, you'll pay us money. And they're like, well, we want to see The Last Airbender done right. It's like and it's like, all right, we'll put the money up if you pay up when we need, subscriptions there. Got a little drip of water there at the bottom. You guys see that? This thing like spews some water at the audience here. Oh, it's the water back there. Okay. Get a little
Water
droplet on this lens. Yeah.
Drop on the lens.
That's kind of a nice touch. So then you got this kind of stuff. Who did the Airbender? What post house did this? Curious.
I don't know.
Was it ILM? Industrial Lights?
I don't know.
Who is it? Everyone's pretty quiet today. We got 9 people watching. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of this fire stuff. Looks like they got a ton of somebody just spewing this out. Somebody's kind of a goofy thing. Again, it feels like something should be only in a cartoon. All right, so there we go. That's it, folks. That's all we could.
Some of that might have, I very well could be mistaken, but if Netflix bought Animal Logic, they bought one of the Australian houses. That may have been where a lot of the effects were done.
Thanks, Jack.
Just is like, oh.
Anyway, we're still here. Anybody want to talk before we end the broadcast? We figured we'd just ask, how are people doing in the industry? How's work? It doesn't matter what country you're from or where you're at. Please tell us how things are going.
What rumors or
rumors
that you know as far as where things are in the industry at the moment? Who's coming back online? Who's going offline? What's the state of the state at the moment?
And this is the thing. I'm not seeing any channel, VFX-wise or compositing-wise. Nobody's sitting down and actually just allowing the audience to speak and say, hey, here's what's going on. And so, again, I wanted to make this a John Connor bunker situation where it's like, how is everybody after the aftermath of the writers and actor strike and everything getting back to normal again? So if there's anybody out there, the 6 whole people watching, if you have anything to say. Otherwise, we're going to cook up some
time for dinner.
Ground beef. Yeah, we went to the gym, worked out. Jack is visiting out here in Lafayette, Indiana. We had a good time together today, did some compositing, worked hard.
Yeah, we're fortunate we have a February that right now feels more like April or May.
Yes, it's very warm out.
For us so far.
And again, I apologize for not posting anything recently. I have just been swamped. I'm trying to set up interviews right now with other VFX houses. It's still not normal, but hope work starts running back. Mastrak, are you in Egypt, I'm assuming? Did we establish that?
I think so.
Egypt, okay. Is there a possibility the world is ending? Just wondering.
I don't think it's quite that bad yet.
Okay. Are the evil bankers going to do the Great Reset? And then we'll all be a cashless society. What do you guys think? Are we about to get...
Or is the great rumor of
the aliens?
a big bubble of work coming
Yeah.
at some point in the near future, if that's actually true or not. That keeps getting pushed back every month. Oh, it's coming next month. Oh, it's coming next month.
Let's make the revolution. Let's make what? Make a revolution? How do we do that?
AI.
AI. Yeah. My personal view, and it's pretty, I don't know if it's necessarily controversial, but I think we are living in the greatest age of hacks in the history of filmmaking. I grew up in the 80s. Jack was around the 80s, right? And we had great movies every other week. We had films full of levity, excitement. We were talking about Back to the Future and how exciting it was and great it was. Today, all these shows are depressing, narcissistic, cynical, dark, mean-spirited. And then the other stuff that's supposedly lighthearted is just stupid. Just plain dumb, stupid stuff. I just think I'm trying to say who to blame for why Hollywood is failing, but then I think there's a lot of things. Obviously, we've talked about the over-the-top PC stuff, the just smacking or just it just you. There was a filmmaker we were dealing with, and I think we talked about him on the show. We won't discuss who he is, but he's a filmmaker in the industry, and he had hired a female director. There's nothing wrong with female directors. That's awesome. But I said, yeah, I have to hire a female director. And I said, well, can't it be whoever gets the best gig? And he looked at me and said, you got to play the game, Matt. Got to play the game. I guess apparently when you have stories, crew members, and you've kind of fill these political correct kind of check boxes, it's harder for critics to tear apart your work because they don't want to get blackballed themselves. Which I was shocked to hear all this. I don't know how valid a lot of it is, but that's what I've been told, which is kind of crazy. You're doing this sort of like self-righteous grandstanding of trying to fill this, and that, but you're not concentrating on the most important part, which is story. Got nothing against, again, the prefaces and apologies of our modern day. We used to never have to use prefaces and apologies back in the 90s and the 80s and so forth. Never existed, even the early 2000s. People said what they said, and they didn't have to apologize for it or put a preface in front of it in case of being blackballed. But today we have to do that. We have to add prefaces and apologies to make everybody realize that, hey, we're not talking about this or that. We're just saying that this sounds a little bit hokey, the fact that, movies are so good nowadays. I went to start watching Guardians 3, and when I played it, I realized I already seen it. That's how good plots have been. They're not even bad, just unremarkable. That's true. You're right. Yeah, it's very true. They're mundane. There's a lot of effort being put into them, but there's nothing significant. There's no risk takers. There's no real controversial subjects being brought up. Not controversial, but I'll bring about the male generation. Let's just say masculine of the Gen Zs, of the kids that I go to college with. 'Cause again, this is all new to me. They really dig the show Breaking Bad, and I said, "What drew you into Breaking Bad? Why is this show?" I've never really seen it, honestly. But the fact that it was sort of like this, I'm doing my own thing, screw society, and it was sort of like this rebellion against this stuff. This guy says awful show. Well, guess we to each of them.
That's what makes an industry.
I've never seen it.
That's what makes an industry.
Yeah, but there's a lot of let's just call them gym rats that love that show. And maybe that's just a specific demographic, but
Specific to a college town.
yeah.
I was going to say, just on the fact of somebody saying a lot of people getting ready to leave the industry. Hollywood's always been that way. It's a very cyclical business. They build up, and then all of a sudden something happens and they cut back, and you got to kind of ride this cycle. So what would happen is if a lot of people left the industry, all of a sudden the industry is going to need a lot of people for something else. When the cycles turns, and then they'll have to start hiring everybody back, and that actually means they have to pay people more. So it's they start pulling people in from other places or send them to work other places, but it's almost you got to just sort of like ride out the cycle. But I hate to say it, but if a lot of people leave the industry, if you can hang in long enough, that's actually good for you. Waiting in once once the smoke clears, and there all of a sudden there'll be more hiring notices because they can't find the people that they need because a lot of them have already left. So it's like, you know, you got to ride the waves.
Yeah. Shandy Tam says it's like after the lockdown, everyone overhired. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. And then the strike, everybody had to like lay off or go on furlough and stuff, and now they're all waiting while the productions start up again, and it's a cycle. And plus, like Marvel had a bunch of bombs, and don't forget Marvel is Disney, and Disney also owns Pixar, and Pixar had a bunch of bombs, and so they're cutting back on their productions, trying to go back to having better scripts, which means they have to write more carefully, which takes longer. And you know, it's just, you know, the money guys are cutting back because they overindulged, and now they have to kind of absorb the overindulgence until they get to the point where, okay, we can overindulge again. It's all part of the cycle. Money is part of the cycle.
Yeah.
It's just how long you can hang in there for the cycle to change.
So Werlin says things will balance out.
Yeah.
They always do.
Yeah,
That's what we need. We need some optimism here.
Yeah, that is Hollywood. It's a cycle. You just gotta wait until the upswing happens, and then all of a sudden there'll be like more work than you know what to do with, if you're hanging in there.
Yeah. Well, folks, before we leave, we'd like to say thank you for being on. I hope we didn't offend anybody that worked on these shows. It's always fun to get a critical eye. You heard from many other compositors. They always talk about how sort of like, you know, tearing apart everybody's work is really just to build them up. I really, more than anything, CG no longer matters to me. I really want to see great story. I really want to see projects that we can get behind, to be excited about it once again. And that's a big thing that would be so awesome. It's not necessary. You know, obviously a lot of people have worked on different projects. They're proud of the little work they did, but the overall picture you finally see is always terrible. So not terrible, but I mean it's just stuff it's just like everyone said, it's not bad. It's not good. It's just meh, right? And I really think I blame the writers. I don't I blame the not the actors. I blame the writers. I think the writers they need to. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I think there's a little bit of a cultural bubble in Hollywood that they kind of like, you know.
Of course, you get into the writers saying, well, the producers are demanding X, but in a quarter of the time, we just can't give them quality. And, you know, it's a blame game, but it's like whose fault is it? You know.
I'd be curious to see a line of movies that were created in AI based on. I'd love just to see a little something different that just to say, hey, this was all written in AI, and it just becomes this original thing. I love to see at least one thing that was done just for the try. But everyone's like, oh, that's horrible. No. It's like, no, let's give it a try. I mean, if the writers are humanoid, why not just use a robot? You know, if the robot, if you've got these sort of like narrow-minded writers, right, with their little bubble, and they keep writing about the same stuff and keep grandstanding the same, you know, causes and all this. And I was talking to somebody else about they boxed themselves in. They've got this box of political correct topics. Sleuths. And I think what you end up getting is a lot of self-righteous storytelling about things that are really not that important, I think, or they're a super minority in the world of majority issues, you know. That's just my thoughts.
Just put the monkey at the typewriter.
At this point, yeah, it can get worse. True, yeah. I think it's just, but again, I'll say this again before I say this again. We are living in the greatest time of Hollywood hackery I have ever seen in my life. I have never seen such horrible nasty, pathetic, dial it in writing. And I've seen this at a film school level too. I've taught at different film schools in Chicago. I'll never forget this one movie I was helping. I won't say who it was, but they were film teachers at a specific college. I sat in a room with them, and they were practicing out a script of a short film. One of the actors in this is actually famous. So I sat in the room with this famous actor. I'm not going to say who it is because I want to, blast him. I sat there and watched these 40, now probably 50-some aged writers, and they were just laughing out loud to each other this script that they wrote that was so out of touch with everything in the world. And I remember sitting in that room like, gosh, this is just hack. This is it. This is just the greatest hacks in the world. They actually think this is what people want to see, and they think it's actually funny. And it was just an awe, like a moment of like, wow, these guys are so delusional. And the movie was terrible. It was the short that they created was absolutely horrifically bad. It was so bad. I showed it to people like, this is not funny. This is just plain stupid. But in that room, they were laughing hysterically over each other over this script. And I remember being in that room like, this guy's famous and he's an actor, and how the heck is this even, It was just so weird. It was a weird moment. But all I got to say is, I hope it inspires somebody out there that's outside of the Hollywood system to create something good. I think you can do it. The tech is there. The cameras are there. We live even a lazier generation of filmmakers, man. They just film their girlfriends walking around forests with camera tests. I swear, it's like, get out there, do a short film with 2 actors. All you need is a couple actors. You don't really need a lot. Write a good script. Press pen to paper, and write a good script. I think there's story out there. I think there's so much story out there that's still yet to be said. But again, a lot of it's going to have to deal with some serious issues, that nobody wants to address. TV is the same. I started watching Succession. Dude, super cringe and hack, and I realized it has Will Ferrell backing the thing. Well, yeah, there you go. Will Ferrell was so cringy in that Barbie movie. Whew, that was bad. Saw and Sleuth had 2 actors, great movies. Saw and Sleuth. Saw is kind of old, isn't it? I think I saw it a long time ago.
Yeah, and then there was a bunch of Saw 2, Saw 3.
Yeah, there's like Saw 2, Saw 3. I'm sure there's some good movies out there. But I would like to see films with a little bit of levity. There's horror movies up the yin yang. There's, cynical, dark spirited. Like we just watched go on Netflix's YouTube channel and look at the last 5 or 6 trailers that they posted. They're all sort of like these Mean Girls trailers of these sort of high school girls gone bad type thing, right? It's the same show. The last 6 trailers are the same show. Just watch them. There's one done in France. There was another one like in America. India. Watch them. They're all the same show. It's the last 6 postings on Netflix's YouTube channel. Watch them. Go back over there and watch them. They don't have any shows for males, too. It just seems like everything's catered towards females. And again, as Jack was telling me, it's because I don't know, he says that there's, it's a very heavy viewing audience. But I talk to a lot of these college kids, earnestly, honestly, and I talk to them, because we'll be in the gym, we'll be in the sauna, and I'll just start asking people out loud as we come into conversation. Hey guys, okay, these are 20-some-year-old kids, right? Most of them gym rats. I said, what's your favorite show? And they're like, I don't have one. There's really nothing I watch. I mean, they're over there watching Instagram and YouTube, But in general, they may say one show that was a long time ago or something. Most of them don't like any shows. They're like, there's nothing really to watch. So, anyway. The rants. I just think we, as in generally in the audience, even as VFX workers, we've just sort of sat back and watched all this and said, ho hum, the work will come in. And I really think it's up to the writers to get off their duff and create some serious stuff, because if they fail, then we fail. I don't know. Please mock me for watching it. Grey's Anatomy. It might be one of the last salvageable things nowadays. Still on for 20 years, and Shonda can still write, and Show can still write. I'm not a big TV fan. I wouldn't really know, but enjoying Cobra Kai as well.
There
Well,
you go.
as two people,
I didn't work with
Jack didn't working on the last 2 seasons of Cobra Kai myself. I got to kill off Kreese. That was fun. I got to put all the blood effects on. There was no tracking marks on him whatsoever. It was a nightmare to track that. It was like hand tracking the blood as he fell to the ground. I'll never forget that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like over here like animating the grid warp and trying to match it manually. It feels like back in the really nice. Yeah. But
There you go.
it was a blast working on Cobra Kai. But yeah, it's again, just even if it's a show that's semi decent, I think it really helps motivate VFX artists to be like, I'm proud of what I'm working on. Very proud of this, you know. And I can't think of any, even some of the artists that work on like even Marvel movies are like, yeah, whatever, I don't give a crap about this garbage, you know. I don't know. I think about if we actually had film directors making movies like Alien, like every other, you know, I don't know, like real filmmakers that came out of nowhere. I mean, I'm sure those of you that are working on Dune too are like super jazzed about it. But even from a more critical standpoint, Dune to me is still very, as Jodorowsky would say, is just very safe and clinical and like, you know, nicety nice. You know, even if there is some cool stuff and kind of like, you know, crazy stuff with the Baron and everything and with the Fade, it still is a pretty cut and dry film. It's well done, beautifully done. I'm super excited for the new one. But I know I'm not going to walk out of that theater as I didn't walk out of the theater, or in the room, I should say, with the first Dune going, oh my gosh, it was incredible. You know, when you walked out of like Back to the Future, you were like, yeah. You were excited. You were
We've got
thrilled.
new
You were
effects-
jazzed.
We've got new effects tools. Let's do Dune again.
Yeah. Yeah,
We can do
so
it better this time.
I don't know. I really think the blame is in the writers' hands. I think the writers they suck. They suck bad, and I hate to say that, but they're just, a lot of them are absolute hacks. I mean, in Chicago, I've dealt with Hollywood, not all Hollywood writers. I mean, I'm going to trash that, you know. But I mean, like, there are writers that I go, how in the world did you write this? How did you work on this season or this show so long, and you wrote this, you know? And it's like, come on. There's got to be a connection to this generation just for what it is. So anyway, that's it. Sorry for my rants. I'm just getting kind of tired of garbage. I don't know.